What's up, gang? It's Ryan here from Ruck.Beer, and today we're doing a first look review at the brand new GORUCK MACV-2s. Now, GORUCK was kind enough to send me a pair of these in advance of the launch, and so I've been able to wear them for a few days, put them through some paces, and just want to give you a first look at them and some of my initial thoughts. Now, the MACV line is GORUCK's Rucking boot. It was introduced several years ago, and actually I have a pair of the original MACV-1s. These are first edition MACV-1s. I never really got into wearing them all that much. I didn't really like the way that they looked stylistically, and so they just kind of, I wore them for testing purposes, and they just kind of sit in the back of my closet. But one of the things that you'll notice about the initial MACV-1s is the tread here was basically just like a very simple tennis shoe pattern. Nothing special, nothing super grippy about it. It was good for rucking on the streets. Over the years, GORUCK did tweak and change the MACVs, and they offered it in different variations. This pair of MACVs, this is my favorite right here. I loved the coyote leather with the webbing material, kind of offset there. The little bit of pop from the brass colored eyelets and water drainage. And not only that, but at the time of this release, GORUCK began to put a little bit more of an aggressive tread on the MACVs. This was an improvement over kind of the tennis shoe version that we saw in the very original release. And I've worn these, almost every day since I picked them up, and they're starting to definitely wear down, almost worn out the spearhead on the heel there. We've lost a lot of the tread in the toe box area as well. But I love these boots. Super comfortable, wear them all day. Great cushioning, great insoles. Everything about this boot I love. So now we have before us the MACV-2s. On release, I believe GORUCK is putting these out in black and coyote. There might be a third color, I can't remember. But this initial release, they are only coming out in this suede version. So I picked up the coyote suede, and just right off the bat, the thing that you cannot miss is the aggressive nature of this tread. All right, it's got some monster lugs here, both in the front and on the heel. And as we look on the bottom, again, just a very aggressive tread pattern. The depth of the tread is maybe not as deep as it might appear if you're just looking at it from the profile of the lugs. I mean, you're talking maybe a quarter of an inch, so it's not crazy aggressive, but as far as like going off-road, leaving the urban jungle for a more literal jungle, for your trail walks, for walking on wet grass, things like that, the tread on the new MACV-2s is vastly superior to all iterations of the MACV-1. When we're kind of doing some comparisons as well, a very simple thing, we've gone to one drain eyelet up front. Normally in all the MACVs there's two. We've dropped that down to one. And then I'll just go ahead and get to it. Probably the thing that I have disliked most about the MACV-2s is the heel cup back here. So if we look at the MACV-1s and compare it to the MACV-2s, there is a very subtle difference, but the top of the heel cup is, I mean, what is that, like a fourth of an inch? Whatever it is, it's very minor, but for me, it is major. So the way that my heel sits in the MACV-1s, where this heel cup ends and the webbing begins is right at the perfect spot in my Achilles heel, to where it just sits perfect. My heel sits perfectly in this cup. On the MACV-2s, as soon as I put them on, the thing that I noticed is that it sits just a little bit lower, so it's right on the top of my heel, right before the Achilles really starts. And my initial thought when I put these on was, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can wear these. Now, I needed to do a review of them, so I've worn them for the past several days, and I will say I have grown accustomed to it. It's just simply a different feel, but it was something that definitely stood out to me. In fact, after putting them on, I did go grab my MACV-1s just to see if it was my imagination or not, but certainly this heel cup is a little bit shorter. So if you're the type of person that's like overly sensitive about that, you might put these on and it might not sit well with you. But like I said, I've worn them for the last several days. I've worn them to work, I've worn them out and about, and they've really grown on me. They're very comfortable, they're light. Stylistically, they are a little bit aggressive, but when I put them on, like normally I'm not a huge fan of the suede boots. That's why when I went for my MACV-1s, I ultimately went with the all-leather version, which I love. So I was a little hesitant about the suede because it's not really my style. But wearing them over the past few days, I was like, you know what? These look pretty darn good. And they've really grown on me, and I'm starting to enjoy them, and will probably wear them more. Now for me, as with most boots, there is kind of a break-in period where my feet are just getting used to it. The way the tongue sits on the right boot in particular rubs against my heel, and so I've been trying to adjust where the tongue sits and figuring out the right tension on the laces. It could just be that I am crazy OCD about things on my feet, especially when I'm looking at them and reviewing them or wearing them for the first time. I'm just so overly sensitive to every little nuance of the footwear. So the heel cup and a little bit of a rub on my ankle have been the main issues that I've faced. But again, the more I wear them, the more comfortable they become, the more it kind of conforms to my foot and my foot adjusts to them. So there's not a whole lot more that I can share with you about these boots. It is a nice upgrade to the MACV-1s. I don't know where GORUCK is going to go with this line. I don't know if MACV-1s are going to kind of stay as boots that maybe they stick with like the leather and some that can be a little more versatile in like an office setting or something like that. I mean, the reality is these giant lugs don't necessarily scream desk job. So, you know, take that for whatever it's worth. But I do see myself wearing these more and more. I look forward to taking them out. I know there'll be questions about how do they feel for rucking. They feel like you're rucking in boots. I don't personally ruck in boots. I always ruck wearing my tennis shoes, which, you know, good news, if you pay attention to GORUCK's social media, you know that there's some running shoes coming our way eventually, which I'm going to be thrilled about for rucking. So I don't necessarily go out and ruck in boots, but if you are a boot rucker, I think this is an excellent upgrade for you, primarily for this traction piece. So that's it. That's our first look review of the MACV-2s. If you have any questions about these boots, drop them in the comments of this video or the post or wherever you found it, and we'll do our best to get answers to you. Until then, I hope you have a great day, and go buy some boots.